And
the
they
same
had-
grass, even though it's an air
Well, I
climate,
remember
it
her.
makes
She was
sense.
already.
She was.
Yeah, I think she was already married to Zach.
Yeah, and he said,
Even though I think
I bet she knows.
they would have swung or something.
And I said, she
It
does.
tastes really.
That's her.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, you are live.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's 2:01 on the official clock on the wall at Custer County Board of Commissioners room. This is Bill Candy, Custer County Board of Health Chairman. And I'll call this meeting to order on January the 19th, Wednesday, 2022. And then please remind everybody, keep your phones silenced if you haven't done it already. Ask me to open it when we're done, will you? Because I didn't before. Anyway, the meeting's being recorded by Kelly, our recorder. We do not have a Board of Health admin yet. We got a notice out to get a person lined up. And it's being recorded by Zoom and YouTube. So with that, let's stand for the pledge. And I'll say it to start. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Okay, Kelly, you're ready for this? Roll call.
Sure. Board of Health member Camden,
Present.
Board of Health member Flower,
Present.
Board of Health member Day,
Present.
Acting
acting
administrator for the Board of Health.
administrator, whatever the heck I am, like, present. And Public Health Director, Dr. Brown.
Present.
Okay, good, thanks. Okay, the visitors that are here, we'll start off.
Okay, with Dave Wetmore.
I think that may be it, except for in the back, Jordan.
Hi, I'm just a IT guy.
No, you're not. You're a valuable member of the IT team
Yes, you are.
that's got a new job of fixing the website for everybody.
You also have two more people.
Yeah, I know we're getting more.
Yeah, so Jordan Hedberg and James Gilbert.
Okay, thank you. All right, and there are people online. How many do we have on now? Jordan? 5, not counting you and Tom.
Commissioners and us.
Okay, we'll introduce those if they are here for public comment, and we'll get them on the record. Meanwhile, next item is amend agenda, and I think we do because this does not have us considering the chairman and the vice chairman of the Board of Health for the new year. So I would like to move that we amend the agenda to reflect that down under new business as an item to consider the chair and the vice chair.
Second.
Okay. And moved and seconded to consider the chair and the vice chair under new business. Any discussion?
Want to do it under new business or do it early in the meeting?
I looked at that and I thought about that because we did it under new business the other, after a few of the reports. The upfront stuff, there's no new business. So I figured it would work here as well and get through the reports.
Or
I'd be good with that.
All right. So looks like a front's coming in, just so the public knows it's getting cold and we're about a degree above freezing right now. All right, with that, approval of the minutes, we do not have any from the last meeting that I'm aware of. And want to also state for the record, we have lost our admin who has resigned due to medical reasons, and we will get that position, and we were using that position also for the Secretary of the Board of Health. Meanwhile, Cliff, because by statute, you are required to keep the minute or keep the items. So get your notepad out. Help Kelly when we get done. Okay. So that brings us on to the first item, which is the anything from the Board of Health members. Tom, do you have anything to bring up right now?
No, sir.
And nor do I. I know that we've been busy trying to keep up with the data that's going on. And so that is a good lead in for Cliff, Dr. Brown, if you want to give us a couple things. The COVID status, which is really the status of the big picture, any other issues that are either related to it or not, maybe there's something outside that. Normal health department stuff too. And then is it Jackie have anything to present today from your point of view?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we'll scratch. All right, your floor.
Okay. I'm gonna first of all have you change a couple numbers, which have changed today since I talked to you.
That's what you get for looking.
I know,
It's a kind of a life.
and you have an extra little packet of sheets in there because I printed off, and these are not for publication, but they are for your knowledge. I printed off the notes from Dr. Hurley, our state head public health, just over lunch hour.
Okay, you want to hold second, you want to shut that door or close it, not maybe all the way, but just crack it. Okay, so you have some data from the say it again.
From the state,
Yeah.
from the head of public health. So that is that extra little packet of colored,
This packet that you
Yes.
gave us.
yes, all the colored graphs and sheets and numbers and so on.
Okay.
But I'll start off with just the data, plain and simple data. Right now, it's 26. Not at all positive. It shouldn't be 26. At least it was 25 this morning, and it's changed.
For
we've had-
positives in the past 7
Yes.
days, you're talking about the
Yes.
first thing. Okay.
Yes, very top of the page. 34 in the last 14 days, but 59 in the last 31 days. If you recall, we were having around 28 to 32 or so. So the Omicron, which our state labs are telling us is almost 100%. We still have some carryover, some people who are ill from the Delta virus, so we are still having some serious problems with them.
But nobody
as far as-
tested positive for Delta
No,
or for
Not-
the original variant,
Yeah.
whatever it was
yeah,
called.
and not now, okay,
Okay.
exactly. So we are almost 100% throughout the state with the Omicron. You know, whether we're ever 100%, I'm not sure, but anyway, that's what's being listed to us in the graphs. As you'll see. We still have a CEDARS report, one CEDARS report of 0 hospitalizations, however, which is a good sign for us there. On another chart, we have 2 listed, and I have not been able to validate that because when I look it up under the listing specifically with names, they have us as 0. So again, Cedar strikes. But anyway, we are almost free of the Delta, except for the people who had been previously infected. Our dashboard today bumps up again. There are only 7 counties in the whole state who are not listed on the red end of the dashboard at this point. Just basically, it is lots of people positive, very few people really in trouble, seriously in trouble, except those, as I mentioned, who.
So they're red because they're just positive.
Yeah, so many positives,
Okay.
not because they're so sensitive and so serious. But there are still people that are being hospitalized, just not very many on ventilators, and that type of serious measure. Our 14-day positive is 14.2, the 7-day positive is 12.9. There have been 5,940 tests done, if that is a concern to you. Our testing ban is still coming between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon on Fridays, and that is every Friday. They have been averaging around 40 tests. So that encourages me also that people are actually starting to pay attention. Hopefully more people are starting to pay attention. We have a documented 525 total cases since we started keeping track. In CEDARS and in our vital statistics program, we have reports of 15, we have reports of 16, and we have reports of 17. So you can choose your weapon, I guess. In our situation, we have almost twice as many males as females who have died. So 11 males and 6 females.
Why are they reporting 4 non-residents? What's that?
That means that people who died here in the county but are not residents of the county.
Oh, I see.
So they could be, you know, Texas or Florida or any place. Exactly. On our 18-plus-year-olds, our first vaccination, which because they're a little bit less likely to have serious results.
Speak louder.
First vaccination, I'm sorry, is a rate of 60.6%. And the second vaccination for the 65-plus-year-olds who are the more at risk, we have 78%. So a lot of our 65-plus, the particularly high risk just due to age and all the other things that come along with that, is actually doing pretty well. The total count.
So just one quick one.
Sure, go ahead, please.
Where are the high risks that are less than 65 counted?
Well, if you have somebody who has pulmonary disease.
No, I understand what it is. I'm just saying, how do you account for it? Because what you're showing here is 78% above 65.
Above 65, right. And I didn't show you this
Another-
time because I'm giving it to you almost every day.
Okay.
The 1 dose and for the 65 plus and the 2 dose for the 18 plus.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'll start again here. The total count is 6,279. That's to date. I expect we will have another approximately 40. That's what it's been running on Fridays for the last couple of weeks since Christmas, essentially. So when people really said, you know, I better get checked. I better look at this a little more carefully. Do you have any questions on those particular, just the data that's straight out of Sears and vital statistics, of course?
Kevin, you have.
Yes, if I may, I know this last week, there was 2 or 3 days where looked like everybody was having trouble with Cedars. Have they rectified that situation?
Yeah, their whole site was down essentially for the week, 3 or 4 days out of the week. And it's back up and now. That's why I can give you the numbers because I had nothing from them. I went through another way to get some numbers. So I gave you something just to kind of give you the trend of what was going on, but there were more people being infected. But as far as giving you precise numbers, it was kind of my hand accounting from other means.
Yeah, and I saw that was,
Yeah,
it
that's,
was
yeah.
their problem, it looked like, because they were reporting that too, that they couldn't get accurate numbers in some of these other counties.
very much like the fixes we quite often do on our computers, where as soon as you fix it, then it doesn't work well for you for the next while. Any other questions, gentlemen?
No, thanks. Good. For me, anybody, Kevin? Tom? Okay.
I wanted to also just touch base with you to keep you a little bit apprised of what is going on with the grants. We have numerous grants that kind of show up at different times during the year. When they kind of hold their audits, or when somebody does a check, like we have to report either every 3 months, or we report at the end of June, or report at November, so we have these things coming in. Those grants are listed, I think, on your second page, grants update. Do you have any questions on these?
No surprise, they're on time, and this is when you're expecting.
That's right. And there are a couple of them that we'll finish up at the end of this month for our year's reporting. But the rest of them are later. Okay, I'll go on. Finally, we have some federal recognition on masks. That it's important, you think? We have from the administration 400 million N95s. Now, these are a little tougher to breathe through, and so people who have some respiratory problems may find them a little challenging, but when they're around other people, if they're properly fitted, and the woman has not grown a beard yet, they work very well. Very well. So these are usually what we use when we go through actually the proper fitting procedures. Question on those. So those are coming available. Do I know where yet? No, I do not. But they are promised. And this came out just this morning or last night or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, those are coming. Now I'm kind of presenting this on a sequence, but it's a specific sequence because it's encouraging to me here too, because this is needed for our people.
Okay, so while you're on that subject,
Yes.
then, because you're on masks, we have in stock, and we put this out last week or before,
Yes.
we've got several thousand of these left.
Yes,
And has
still.
anybody been coming and picking them up?
Yes, they have.
Okay, good.
They really have.
And they're the N95,
KN95,
KN95.
that's right.
So,
And we try to get them fitted. Depending on who's there, of course, handing them out, but basically they're being fitted to the nose before they walk away. And make sure that the seal is pretty good. Now, the next page is something we literally got today, free at-home COVID-19 tests. So this is what I was advocating when I first came to this county, that we need to have something that people can use at home without having to pay, without having to drive 20 miles or whatever, but check themselves. And if they do test positive, then usually on this type of thing, you want to check a second time, but you are going to need to hold yourself at least in quarantine until you can get the PCR on Friday or at the clinic, here at the medical clinic in the valley. Or you can always go down the hill, of course.
so that begs the question then. So you test negative first, the next test you do is positive.
Mhm.
So what do you do?
Well, it depends on what, if you.
What do you recommend?
Oh,
We've only
yeah,
got 4
these.
tests. We only have 4.
And these, then, since you only get 4 a week,
Was that a
okay?
week?
Yeah, it's not 4 forever.
Didn't say a week here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually 4 per week. And it's gonna take probably a week and a half or so, week to week and a half for them to get shipped. I think the flow will be much smoother as soon as they kind of grease the works, as soon as they do it for a little while.
Last I heard, they have a problem sending them, because you send it to one address that has 50 people, because it's an apartment, you only get 4
Yes,
tests.
sir.
That's been fixed. yet?
Hopefully that will be fixed. You know, I can't promise anything, but hoping that's gonna happen. But anyway, it encourages me that people are going to be able to have access, not just the school kid parents are gonna actually have access to the test so they can check themselves. And if they do show up one time, then they need to go down and get tested for real. And once again, it's there every 5 weeks. Questions on this? I don't know much about this except what has been just produced from last night. The next page. Now, the next page is very, very busy. It's not something you're going to pick up on really quickly. In fact, when you flip the page over, I went through, for your sake, and hit a couple of sites there that you can answer somebody's question if they ask, where in the world can I get monoclonal antibodies? Can I get any type of medication to circumvent some of the more serious symptoms? So you will have some highlighted spots there when people ask you, and I assume that they will. So we not only have masks potentially here coming to us, promised to us at least, but we have tests promised to us. So hopefully people do not wander so long spreading it so thoroughly without testing themselves and taking good personal responsibility.
So you highlighted 2, St. Thomas More and Canyon and Park Beach.
Right. Yeah, and you can also, these are the sites that have been receiving or are going to be receiving some of these medications from the state. I did not find Heart of the Rockies in there, but I believe that they are also going to, if they haven't already been receiving. So we have our 3 hospitals, the ones that are assigned to our county residents, are all, should be all available to us, to our people. Questions, Charlotte?
And then that is still available without a referral from a doctor if you test
Yes,
positive.
there is a
you're already able
self-referral
to-
system, like I sent out to you, gentlemen.
Okay.
That you can go in and say, okay, I'm symptomatic, or I've been exposed. So there is a pre-exposure kind of clause in there, avenue for gaining your testing. So as people are becoming more concerned and hopefully are seemingly taking more responsibility, they have some avenues available to them. My guess, and I could be as wrong as rain, but my guess is that we probably have only about a third of the people, if they're not seriously ill, actually reporting. And I think that's probably the case all over the state. We just, lots of people don't say anything, they just stay home for a while.
Okay. So before you move on to something different,
Yes, sir.
then therapeutics, we need to update on that because there are things that help. And I know they were going to look
Okay,
into.
and those were the blurbs that I sent out to you. I can reproduce
Well,
those.
that's what I mean. I'm just, it's because the public hasn't seen that. There are things
Oh,
available.
Okay, that was sent, I believe, to Jordan and to Reggie to produce
Mhm.
for our website at least, if not from the Facebook.
So what has been approved publicly, and they're expecting other things like ivermectin pills, whatever,
Probably not that one for a little while.
Regeneron kind of thing, whatever.
Yes. Yeah, but we do have, and the best medication, the most effective right now, one of them is only like 30% or so. The best medication is really in short supply, so it's still a challenge.
Which is what? Do you know the name?
It's Promexin.
In a pill form? Or a liquid, or what is it?
There is one pill put out by Pfizer.
Mhm.
It is, some people are really happy and other people are not so much.
Yeah.
So much, in my mind, much has yet to be gained from doing some more testing, but I don't see that is anything that is going to happen in the next week.
Okay.
But we'll be watching, at least it's a possibility. And it's better than some people who really have a deadly fear of needles. So it at least gives them an option. So it's coming. And once again, those, I will check back to make sure with Jordan and Reggie to make sure that the sheets of information that I sent in will actually be there for people to look at and study and go onto the web and, find out as much as they can.
Kevin, you had something?
The other 2 mainstream ones were not being very effective against the Omicron, if I
There
have heard
are
correctly.
at least 4 of the infusions, and they're kind of listed, okay, from the top. So if you want to try to remember it, the top one is an S, okay? And that's the most effective. When you get into the antiviral, which is another way to kind of approach this, there are 2 there, but only the one that starts with a P is really highly effective, and that is very, very short supply. That's tough. I'll grab one too.
Thank you.
Tom, anything?
No,
Okay, so you had some other issues here.
Yes. Since our borders have been significantly opened, I wrote out a little piece for you. when I was going through working in the reservations where I expected to see a lot of tuberculosis, and we had in the past, there was none. Then we had a lawyer come in after having visited the other side of the pond and brought it back with him and tried not to get caught, and they turned him down. So he came in through Canada and still reintroduced in the United States. But now we have all sorts of people coming in across the borders, not only with COVID, but bringing many other diseases. So this disease that came essentially within days of killing my own father, very seriously has been reintroduced. So these people are being untested, they're being untreated, they're being spread throughout the United States where we don't know, but spread, and throughout our whole country, from what I've been told. So we are now dealing with it again. We had one case that was a possible coming from south of us here. I won't say the community, but it was found to be, we're okay. He's good, but he did test potentially positive at that time. So I expect we'll see more in the future. So if people start having problems, have not been tested for a while, have any coughs or around people with coughs, and you're going to see that a lot with COVID and a lot with all the other viruses and allergies. It would really be a good idea.
So you get them test the same place you get vaccination
Yep.
tests anywhere where else. Any
medical clinics, yeah.
Drugstore.
It's a real common
All right.
available test. Has been for a long time. And is required for all federal facilities.
Okay.
Okay.
Have we had cases here?
The only one that I
Okay,
know
not here.
of was the one that I kind of mentioned. It did not turn out to be positive, even when we went through extensive testing with the state and so on. And he wasn't from our community. He
Gotcha.
was from Southwest.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay, now all the pretty colors of the sheets that I gave you. The kind of lighter blue, that kind of blue-green on the right-hand side of the chart. That is the Omicron.
Mhm.
Okay, so just very quick glance gives you kind of what you need to have. And then we can go on right now to the modeling projections for Omicron peak hospitalizations. We are kind of splitting the middle, so to speak, on the lower third, lower quarter of how many hospitalizations have been projected maximally versus minimally. And following through with in colors there for you, right on through and into the projection into the first of next month. We are dropping off, but the black line, the one that is the actual, is, like I said, kind of almost in the middle, a little bit on the lower end of the maximum number projected under various models. Once again, these are not for you to try to figure out what the exact number is, but to see the trend, see what's going on, because all of these things vary so much with who reports in and when they report in and how they report in.
They all look like they took a nose, including in Denmark,
Yes.
all around the world, in
And once
Colorado
again,
too.
yeah, and that's why we're trying to follow to see. Dr. Hurley is looking to see if she can kind of figure out where we're going. And so far, it looks like we're following suit. We're not above. We're not.
We're sort of in the mean of the
Yes.
population of the world.
Yeah, we're following along. We're not nearly as bad as challenged as some of the people are, some of the populations are. Following hospital admissions. And once again, in Colorado is the red line. Now, I'm not at all certain, from reading an awful lot of charts for a long time. Not at all certain that any of these are exactly precise as far as showing where we're really going, because there's a number of fluctuations all the way across that graph line. You'll see little bumps and humps and dips across there. But it looks like there is at least a chance for the first time in a little while that we are starting to not be increasing in our hospitalizations and our admissions. Once again, these are just to give you an idea of what's going on. The trajectory is the next page.
Well, let me
I'm
say
sorry.
something for the record then, because you're right. This chart shows the hospitalizations per 100,000, and we were in the low back 160 days ago. We've been higher than that 400 days ago. But so it was way down, bottomed out, and then we had the spike. And then when we got to 170 days, that's where the spike was. And since then, it's been decreasing for the last 40 days.
Yes, sir.
So that's good. It looks like a good trend.
It is. And once again, when Omicron hit, everything went crazy. As far as I know.
Well, that was the Omicron data.
Yes.
Okay.
Because those are supporting so many of the numbers right now.
Okay.
We, like I said before, we still have some people who are sick from previous episodes with the Delta variant. And because they are sick, we have some people who have not been exposed with Omicron and have been exposed with Delta, which is the projected course. And seriously ill.
Okay.
So we still have to watch. It's not anything to kind of let your guard down. You still need to be paying attention to what you do around other people and with your family.
Okay.
We have several families who have shown up with several members of the family, not surprising, and that close proximity. The next Colorado case trajectory, that's from around the world. And once again, that's projection. Number of 7-day new admissions. We follow down below Chaffee County and Alamos and so on. It's the second number up from the bottom. It says 2 on it as you go up the chart for Custer County.
Paso with the military down there. It's got
Yes,
the
sir.
highest. That's
Yeah, a couple of them there.
190 compared to R2.
Yes, sir. And the Arapahoe and Denver. So those are the 3 kind of big ones that seem to be always on the top or frequently on the top.
Okay.
New admissions from the 7-day new. That's also listed on the next day. Once again, these don't have a lot of meaning to you, I suspect, but if somebody asks, you can at least look back and see what has been recorded. This is not up to date. We're dealing with a week, 2 weeks ago, when they've been able to gather the information.
January 18th.
Correlated, right? So, but that, once again, that's gathering.
Updated.
Yeah, that's updated. So it's not day to day, but it's taken in lumps, so to speak.
Okay.
The following pages there, if you flip over 2 pages, and then the 3rd page, we should actually, 4th page, excuse me, we should actually have something for you. I would like you to notice.
Show the picture.
Like this, I'm sorry. The graphs. The original epidemic curves.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted you to notice Pueblo. And this is why I've repeatedly commented that when we go to our larger centers, just because we may be doing not quite so badly here, doesn't mean that when we go shopping at Walmart or whatever, Lowe's, that we're not going to be in contact with people who can potentially make us ill. So our residents need to be, in my opinion, cautious. Make sure they mask up, even though people down there frequently are not. On the very last page, I believe, yeah, you have some of those larger sensors, the rapid one, you see the size. There's a slight leveling out in several of the counties, possibly, but once again, wait for another week and we'll have a lot better chance of judging properly. The following page, I just put in here again to kind of give you an idea, because if you'll notice, all the counties are listed there on the map, and most of them are red. So that's a 7-day incidence per 100,000. And to just let you know, I mean, a week ago, that wasn't the case.
Mhm.
They were showing the trends starting from kind of the central and central eastern side of the state at that time, and then it just spread.
Okay.
The next one, the flip side of the page there, is comparing the US to where Colorado is right now. So yes, we're not up where they are, but we're up. And the graph line shows it, a significant vertical movement there, when counting the number of hospitalizations. The 7-day average currently hospitalized per 100,000. Colorado is outlined there in black so that you can pick it up on that kind of gray chart.
Mhm.
31.
Okay.
All right, the following page, comparisons of Colorado and US case rates. Notice we're following right along, and it looks like both the case rates across the United States and the case rates in Colorado, we kind of peaked out just a little bit sooner than the whole country, but we're following essentially the same trajectory.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot for you to be gained on another 7-day incidence rate on the following. It just lets you know that Colorado is once again not been tested quite as much, and so they've moved up a little further in the chart for the 7-day incidence per 100,000 comparison in the United States.
Mhm.
And all the states together. On the flip side of that page with the blue line in the chart is encouraging, and it is almost pervasive in the charting and the graphing, that the death rates have really dropped. So yes, we had a splurge, so to speak, a big peak in hospitalization rates, and they seem to be, at least in part of the counties, coming down a little bit, but the death rates have really plummeted,
Yeah.
which is obviously encouraging. The following are hospital bed availabilities, and you'll notice that's on a downhill trend also. Both sides of that next page will show essentially the same thing. But we have dropped from up in the 80+% rates down to 63.7. Once again, this is not up to today. For COVID hospitalizations, where they actually said, okay, this is due to COVID, not just we check the person and he had COVID when you showed up. So that has a kind of a medium blue line on it. And it says percent of COVID hospitalizations with COVID-19 as a principal diagnosis, not as an accompanying diagnosis. Okay, I think
It's pretty steady from February of 21 until December of 21, and then it dropped like a rock.
yes, it did.
Down to-
And I don't know for sure how to explain all of that. There are a number of factors that can enter in. One, when you start checking a little more closely. Another one would be people who are actually making the diagnosis, saying, okay, this is due, not just the fact that he tested positive after he got here, just because you're doing it at all preliminary, all admission diagnoses. So everybody's being tested. So I don't know if that's really plummeting that much, but it would be encouraging if it is, but
did that bring any eyes on the target here during your discussions at the state level, or did they just blow it off?
Yeah, they have questions. There's nothing that's going. But at least it's a significant trend after staying essentially level since March of 2020.
Looks like it was at 90% dropping to
Yeah,
60%.
About 64. So anyway, that's no big changes there for quite a while, and then all of a sudden it's a drop. So that to me is a positive for us. And the number of PCR tests, as we are receiving here in the valley, is the next graph. Okay, and just a couple more here, and I'm putting it to sleep. 7-day moving average trend, indication of positive PCR antigen tests reported. So everything is starting to taper down. So based on the PCR. That's encouraging. And one more page and we're finally done. The pediatric cases, as you know, there is the big push on the Pfizer for the children that has been okayed, at least temporarily. If you notice on the far right-hand side of the graph, the kind of the light blue-gray is the 18-plus-year-olds. So the more adult they are, the more of a drop there has been. So not only in the 18-plus-year-olds just in the next 10 years or so, but also in the next 50 or 60 years, the drop is consistent. But not so much with the kids, if you notice, the pediatrics between 0 and 4, 5 to 11, and 12 to 17.
Yeah, but that's deceiving because the actual numbers are like 100 instead of 200.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, there are, once again, many factors that can play into these counts. That's what we have right now, and or better than what we had sometimes in the past. The one last piece, Colorado's daily case count 7-day moving average trend. If you notice in January, that is a pretty substantial drop. It's going down as fast as it came up, but it's not very far down yet. So, but anyway, once again, just looking at the trends. So if we look at other countries, we have very good chances that we can continue going, our whole country can continue going higher. We probably will for a while, but as Dr. Bookman mentioned to us the other day, said probably in 2 to 3 weeks, we'll know a whole lot more than we do now in many ways.
He has a flair for the obvious.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. Questions, Chairman?
Well, I have an observation. You can certainly correct me if you need to, but I get the feeling that the more the federal government pushes these free at-home tests, the less accurate any of these numbers are going to be. I mean, the numbers will be accurate. They won't paint the total picture of what's going on.
The one good thing about the tests that they are pushing is that hopefully it will get the people to do what they're supposed to do, and that's get the real test afterwards. So if we can cut them down from walking around for 7 or 14 or whatever days, asymptomatic or symptomatic, but being contagious, then we can make some good headway, I'm hoping.
Well, even if they didn't, the fact that they are looking at it and taking care of themselves, not infecting somebody else, which you won't get any data on.
Right.
At least the infection rate should go down
Yes, sir.
also because of that.
Right, I agree with you. I just think the data is gonna become more and more.
It's gonna be,
skewed.
yeah, it's gonna be just fuzzy.
They'll have the information there and they're not gonna see a need to share that. And I agree with that.
I guess I'm cynical enough to believe that if somebody takes an at-home test and comes up positive, they're gonna stay home.
Hopefully,
I don't think they're gonna go get a PCR test.
No.
but we have a lot of people who do. A lot of people are phoning in on Fridays or just popping in.
Right.
So that's what I said. At least there's a trend in that direction,
Yeah, I
not
see
the
that.
other one.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with statistical evidence at all, but just to give you an example, that the Omicron is going right through and infecting people who have had COVID once or twice. We've had people who have had their booster shots plus their initial set of 2. And we have people who have never had anything in the past and always been able to fight it off. It still gets it. So, I'm just glad that it's not a deadly variant or not nearly as deadly as Delta was.
And Tom, I'd like to speak to your point there. I agree with you on that, what you're saying. The nice thing though about those tests is a scale doesn't have to be accurate to tell you if you're gaining or losing weight. The absolute number can be wrong, but the scale will always tell you if you're going up
Right.
or coming back down. So that's why the PCRs are somewhat useful in that
Yeah,
regard.
I'm certainly interested in 60 days from now to go back and see
Yeah.
what the PCR test numbers
Yeah, they're gonna be.
are once this big push for these free at-home tests come out.
Yeah.
I suspect that PCR tested visits to the buses and so on and so forth are going to go down.
I would expect so for Custer County, like a retirement community, but for a lot of places, you have to have a positive PCR to get off of work,
Right.
insurance purposes, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
So
forced test.
Custer County, I think you will see. a
Definitely
drop-off a
comments
lot.
from me were made towards people living in this county.
Yeah,
And
for
if
sure.
they have to pay $165 for the test, they're probably gonna have a plus test before they go in and pay $165. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of the
My
way.
hope is with these at-home tests, they will quarantine.
But we have been using this type of approach in school. And it, in my mind, from what I've seen, has helped.
Yeah, it looks good. Actually, school's doing pretty well. Okay, any other items?
I'm good to go, sir.
Kevin, you got any questions on
No, I would comment, the trends, you can tell the story. And on some of this where things are starting to turn around, another week or two will tell if that's a true turnaround or just a little glitch in the thing. That being said, the positivity rates skyrocket. I mean, it was a straight line up. If this continues, it may be the same coming out the other side, but that waits to be seen. That would be a hope, but that's not a given at all.
Yeah.
How many COVID deaths has Custer County had since January 1? As far as you can
This year.
determine? Mhm.
This year. If I recall, looking back, I believe there was one, I can't from HRSA give the exact date, but there was one that I remember specifically that has happened in this calendar year. But that, again, that was not the Omicron variant to the best of what I could pick out from vital statistics.
Was that in one more?
Yes, sir.
I believe so.
it? All right, any other comments here? Online? Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
I have a couple of questions. Maybe you can or cannot answer these. In the data you presented for vaccination, do you have numbers on the percentage of people who've gotten boosted? And do you have numbers on the percentage of 5-year-olds and 12-year-olds up?
I can get those numbers exactly for you. I'm sorry, I don't remember them, off the top of my head.
You're talking just Custer County, is that what you
Yeah,
have?
in
Yeah.
Custer County, right? Custer County residents or everybody who got tested in Custer County.
No, vaccinations in Custer County, how many kids are we doing?
Okay.
5+, 12+, and then how many complete regimens have we had all the way through booster?
Okay, I can produce those numbers for you, but I can't remember, I'm sorry, right off the top of my head.
Okay.
But we've had quite a few of the boosters.
Yeah, that, because the key is going all the way through.
Yes, sir.
So that's the big number,
Yeah.
the second shots are.
Most of our people, quite frankly, have had, most of the people who got the first set, the 2 shots or the Pfizer, or excuse me, the J&J have come back. The majority of those have come back and gotten the booster. And we do have people asking for a second if they're highly immune compromised. We are vaccinating, and I can tell you that some children are actually, because I've talked to the moms, some children are actually asking,
Good.
okay? So they're paying attention. And then some of them, the conversation, and I, of course, can't identify personally, but the conversation goes something like, maybe it would be just better if I got the vaccination. You know, this is from an 11-year-old child. If you'd like, I can,
So I can probably ferret that number out as well myself, so. I was just curious if you were tracking the.
yes, we are. We have written, I just don't have
Yeah,
all those numbers stored away in my head.
So that begs the question, you know, archive wise, what are we gonna do with the data? We ought to learn from it and have some thoughts on,
It goes into the
Usefulness of
state, that's.
I know it was a mistake, but I'm talking about us.
Yeah, but
Custer County
we're
managing our own
we're
people.
watching. Yeah, we are watching and we have
Taking,
our records,
Mhm.
you know,
right, I get it,
not just them and cis.
because that's good to know and that ties in with who's susceptible and who's not. What's a high probable guy is at risk? Whether he's 30 years old, what makes him at risk?
And
Because he's got a broken leg or because he's got appendicitis or because he's what, got a disease he doesn't know about.
And the methodology for the future.
Right.
Which is what we're.
So
going to
then you
really
could do
know.
different things with our own clinics to make sure people are getting the normal, when you're going to, if we get back to normal and have a kind of health fair, then you can watch for people and give them the advice on the right shot to get
And we
at
may,
whatever age.
I'm hoping, and I'm counting on us being able to obtain more and more effective therapeutics.
Yeah,
But I would also, when you get
that has to
somebody,
happen or we
Yeah.
don't go anywhere.
when you get a captive audience, when you get somebody in there, you're ready to give them an injection. Sometimes you don't know whether you're going to get them back. And so it would be nice to be able to take care of as many of these as possible when they're there.
I'm looking at the big picture. It's going to be great to be able to help people because they come looking for help. They come for a checkup just because they're worried. And so now you got to tell them, here, do this, go take some Theraflu or go take a COVID flu therapy.
That type of, approach, yes.
All right,
I have another.
go ahead, Jen.
Okay, with regard to
Excuse me.
the obvious answer is the best advice that you can give to anybody that comes in concerned about COVID is get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And get the full regimen. My understanding of the antiviral drugs, Pfizer is working to do hundreds of millions of doses and whatnot. And I believe it's gotten emergency use approval.
Yes, but that's it so far.
Right, but that's better. That's good.
It's what we didn't
Because you
have
can
before.
get it if you
That's right.
you have it. The biggest issue is the timing of taking it. However, the good news about the antivirals being developed is they will be active regardless of the variant because of the nature of their work, of the way they work. Whereas the monoclonals, some of them have been proven to be very specific variant wise. That's why they're failing against Omicron. Again, because of the way they work. So hopefully between Pfizer and I think it's J&J, the antivirals will be, I don't want to say a godsend because I hate to have people discouraged from getting immunized because there's a treatment out there. So if I catch it, I can just take a pill. Still get vaccinated. And then if you do happen to be one of the people that contract the disease afterwards, it's going to be mild and the pills will make it even milder. So
I'm
That's a good
also
point. That's
looking-
exactly what happens in the normal flu, right? People get vaccinated or they get to take Thermoflu or some therapeutic that helps them.
well, if they, yeah, if
Just
they
like-
end up getting it because,
That's right.
yeah, exactly.
Same.
And the whole, actually, the whole scenario is pretty similar. It's to get vaccinated, when you get the flu, you're not getting it like you would if you weren't.
Right.
And then you can take
You do.
whatever,
I
hot
use that.
tea, chicken soup,
Right.
whatever.
Suck on some zinc.
What do you think, Dr. Gilbert, of the AstraZeneca, some of the other things that we don't have here in the United States that we do have in Europe?
You mean the vaccines or?
Yes, sir.
My understanding is that is AstraZeneca and J&J are basically this.
Very close.
AstraZeneca and J&J are the same vaccine platform. The Pfizer was developed by BioNTech, which is a German company anyway, so that's in Europe. And the Moderna is basically the same as Pfizer because of the differences, whatever sequence they're using, but that doesn't really matter. The mechanism of the immunization is the same. So AstraZeneca versus J&J,
Okay,
what's the difference? Type of deal.
because a lot of people ask, so
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're getting J&J, you're essentially getting AstraZeneca. It's just that AstraZeneca is not approved here, even though it was out front, I believe, in the development, but J&J got approved here and AstraZeneca didn't.
who knows that particular day or why things.
Okay, we got to move along.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No,
That's,
don't be. I think there might be other questions still on that. You got another one, Jim? Different?
No,
Okay. Anybody online, Jordan, that has a question? Okay. Then you're done with your report.
yeah.
And
unless you have
Jackie's
other
not here
questions
and
for
no
me.
other issues you need to discuss.
Not that we have to discuss.
Okay. All right, well, we'll move on. It's unfinished business time and I do not have any. Tom?
No.
Kevin?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's go on with the one item that we brought down as an add-on here, and that's consideration of the chair and vice chair. So let's do what we did in the initial commissioners meeting. We'll have Kelly cut up some ballots again. And we'll have Dr. Brown draw and talk. Since we don't have the lawyer here today.
He's been diligently taking notes while he was speaking, I'm sure as well.
Absolutely, sure, yeah.
Kelly's going for the one she tore up earlier. I was waiting for the file cabinet.
The one that gum stuck in the back.
Vote, then we can nominate anybody that would like to become the chair and replace me or not. Any volunteers?
I would hold by my statements of a year ago that I still feel that even though this last year we had the same chair for both boards, I would like to see it be different individuals.
Me too, because I did both.
So I would decline any opportunity for that.
Tom, come.
Including vice chair.
I would consider that, but I would not like to be the chair.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a desire. I don't have a problem with just doing a slate if Bill's interested in continuing to serve as chair of the Board of Health.
Yeah, I'll certainly do it. I don't have a problem doing it.
I would nominate Bill as chair and you as vice chair. If that works for you.
I would have no problem with that.
Okay, so we'll go with Tom, vice chair, Kanda, chair. We'll vote by
Kevin, vice chair.
Kevin, not vice chair. I'm sorry.
I didn't even catch it.
I didn't either.
I did.
I mean, we could go through the whole ballot process.
No.
I'm not trying to circuit
I think-
it, but you guys are willing to accept it.
There's no requirement to go on anything. We do.
No,
We're
we can do
small
it
and we can do it
however we
by
want.
talking about it.
Does that
So-
mean I dug those out of there for nothing?
Yeah. But they're very nicely, neatly torn this time. All right, so all in favor of the slate being Kanda chair, Kevin vice chair, say aye. Well, it's been any other discussion. All in favor, say aye. Kevin,
Aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay.
Thank you.
You have mine back, but I wrapped some gum in it.
It's bitter. Okay, any other public comment, and then we can move out of here.
Yeah, I have a quick, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Jordan.
Go for it.
Just to let you know, there's one person online with their hand up.
Okay, that's why I was gonna ask. I was looking in here first. Okay, online, go ahead.
Hi, it's Tracy Ballard. I just had a question. There's been some confusion on Facebook, in particular, as to some of the different numbers of cases and so forth. And I was wondering if Dr. Brown could clarify. TC Smythe seems to have some different numbers, as well as Hedberg, and as well as public health. So I wanted to see if that could be addressed as to where the discrepancy could be coming from. Thank you.
Before you answer, Tracy, did that include today's data that he just presented from Cedars? Or was this?
No,
already
this
a week or two ago, or when?
This has just been various days online where one of them will come up and say, no, this isn't the number. We have this number. And I was just wondering if that could be addressed as to why the different sets of numbers.
Okay, you're asking why there's differences, not what data. From my point of view, the data he just presented is the data. And
Right,
if
absolutely.
somebody had something else they got today by looking at it from some other source, it might come up online and might be different. So you're asking, how do the numbers differ?
In general, yes.
In general. So go ahead. That makes it easier to answer.
Depending on who's counting.
Speak loudly.
I'm sorry. Depending on who's counting and what they're using as their criterion for instance, the easiest one obviously is whether or not the person died secondary to the principal cause of COVID-19, or if the person had COVID-19, but that was not ruled by that particular individual or that particular group as being caused by COVID after all, but by other precipitating factors.
So if he died in a car crash and he had COVID, it was reported as a COVID thing. I'm being facetious, but there were other circumstances that he was really down with, but he
Yes,
died
sir.
from, but the COVID was
Yes.
there.
Now,
That could be different from.
and Vital Statistics, their program does not always, as I read off to you guys, there are 3 different numbers, and that's just today that were given on the deaths. So we have different organizations counting with sometimes different basis for their count.
Okay. So Tracy, did you understand that?
Yes, I did. I just don't want it to come up. Mhm.
Before you do that. So from our perspective, we've always stated that the number that we see and that is the official Custer County record right now is the one that out of Cedars that you're using and you're tracing and all that. So if numbers are different, then I would suggest that if it was me, I would go and find out what the public health agency has And then that's a discussion you're going to always have. If people will differ, well, I just saw this online. Well, that's, all we will continue to report is what you officially have. Right? I mean, that's what you've been doing.
Right. Yeah, I don't have any contribution to make to those. I just literally
Yeah, I get it.
pull them off.
I don't think there's any, I don't know, Tracy, does that help or does you want to continue to probe it?
No, that's fine. I just, there's a lot of confusion and I wish that would stop. And the essential undermining of the public health agency. And I think people need to pay attention to what is put out by the PHA instead of other people who may have an agenda. That's all I'm saying.
Well, but they'll never, I mean, that's just happens. We can't stifle. All we can do is stand by our numbers, and they are our certified number that we will tell anybody that calls out. We have no idea. Somebody could make up a number, call somebody else.
And those numbers do change in different parts of the day. I can have one reported into me, for instance, another positive at 11 o'clock in the morning after I just got through publishing what was there for 8.
The number still is what you published until you report the new data, which happens in biostatistics and everywhere.
It's from Cedars.
So this is Tracy's point here, and I'll point it out. So yesterday, and I'd like actually an answer to this. So yesterday, the Custer County Public Health Agency put up one of the charts online.
Keep going.
Stuff like that. And so it was done at 10:58 a.m. And the total start from the pandemic was 5:25. Okay. Thing is that that morning they had released it at 5:38. So you're already off by the difference between those two immediately. Now, Cedars, he has the name, stuff like that, but the database that TC, Smythe, and I use, it's done overnight, and it's actually 4 o'clock the day before, but everything comes through that day. So,
and it's reported at 4 in the morning or something.
Well, it depends.
Right.
But the point is,
It varies.
we have a post that goes up, but that was data from the Friday before, and whatever 525 minus. Usually it's not a big issue because we don't have that many cases sometimes, but sometimes you get big spikes. So that's a difference of 13 cases, which is fairly a large jump. And so that's my question, to get to Tracy's point, is who posted that? And then why was it pulled from the Friday before, from those numbers? Exactly.
These numbers that I'm posting could not, from what I've seen, have not been from the Friday before. They've been from that previous 24-hour period, because they do post some Sundays, Saturdays.
No, I understand.
Let's let Jordan help you post them. Jordan, you have a point to make here.
Yesterday's, I saw your comment online, so it was my fault. I thought yesterday was Monday all day. His email came in, I guess on Monday. We got here yesterday. I just took the numbers, put it in the graphic, and then put it online. That's on me as far as being a date. I have the wrong date on there.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be difficult, but when you have a spike of 13 cases, that's
Raising
fairly
the eyebrow.
significant. And we only do it every Monday usually. I mean, sometimes there's Monday and Friday, but that's a big lag time there. So
Jim's got another one.
Yeah, this discussion is very interesting, but I'm getting a little frustrated with the absolute numbers. The fact that we're 26 cases in the last 7 days or 38 or whatever it was, we've got the number of deaths that we have, whatever the absolute number is, all of that is bad. And when we have a disease with vaccination that is very effective, there's no reason to have this. So whatever the absolute number, it doesn't matter. If we've got numbers like this in a county this small, that's bad. And I hope nobody loses sight of that. And no, Dr. Brown doesn't.
I hope no one loses sight of the fact that not everyone comes down with a bad case, and everyone has the right to decide in this country whether they want to get a vaccine that may or may not be effective or not. That is their choice for them and their children.
Everybody has the choice. The vaccine is effective. The data is there for that. And
I'm not speaking to you, Mr. Gilbert.
That's fine.
Right.
And the issue really is, yes, you have the choice, but remember, you may get a mild case, but the person you infect may die from it.
Right. Okay, good point. And Tracy, I think we all understand your point, and that's a good one also. And we're doing a good job getting the numbers out that we do, so people can make a decision if, you know, if they want and understand it well enough. So you do have another question back there,
No,
George?
I saw it. It was still Tracy's hand up.
Okay. Okay, we good? All right, any other comments? Jordan?
Okay, yeah, this time. So I want to request to the board here, you didn't have the minutes for this month or December, the last meeting. So I get that, but what I need to request is the minutes from basically that you have, they're not posted online right now. So that would probably be November, December. I don't know what you guys approved, so that's something.
Since you saw it. What we need to do, which we did say, we have to get all minutes, all agendas and all of that online in a good way. We have a problem with the website.
Well, that part I'm not gonna.
And not only that, Jordan, it's the process that we've had in the past because we've had big turnover.
Yeah.
Of people trying to do it.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. But I just,
Good
so my point is if you got November, December, wherever in that, basically, whatever you have for agendas and minutes for the, I'll just say the last fiscal quarter, I'd appreciate those.
I think we
And then if you have any of the full audio recordings, you do use the YouTube ones, but sometimes those get caught up at the end. So I don't know if somebody was independently recording those. I don't know if Tina did. I mean, you do it for your minutes for the BOCC, but I don't know if Tina did it for.
No, we used YouTube and
the Zoom. Okay, so that answers that question. So if I can just get the agendas and minutes for the fourth quarter, what you do have, I know this last one didn't get approved, so that's fine. But if I could get those.
So in a normal world, it would have been handwritten minutes by somebody actually doing it, which we did in the past.
Yeah.
And actually in the past, because, and you haven't been involved the whole time. When we set up the Board of Health agencies within the state in 2009, it was, everybody did their own thing until 2000 and whatever it was.
Right.
And then even then, everybody was different. So we've all kind of come around and we're getting more continuity now across the state, not just in the county.
Oh, yeah.
Even the counties, all the counties are learning.
Yeah.
Especially if we forced it by this pandemic. If we'd have kept doing health fairs and going over to the jail and giving a prisoner a shot, and nothing would have changed.
Well, I remember when it was BOCC, you jumped to Board of Health and then and then go back into session. So I understand that. So, but whatever you have for the fourth fiscal quarter would be great because I can't find any of them. And Tina's not here right now. So
and she does check in and she's still willing to participate.
Okay. Well, just the fourth quarter, what you do,
certain things.
what you do have approved, that would be great. So thanks.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Bill, can you hear me? This is Elliot calling. I'm calling in on the phone.
Oh, no, we haven't come up. Go ahead, Elliot.
Hi. I have a question for Dr. Brown about if you have any information or updates on influenza rates in Custer County. And also people have been asking me about flu vaccinations, whether they're free, whether the public health is still offering them, or whether the vaccination bus is offering them. So if you have any information for me, I'd appreciate it.
I can answer that pretty easily. Yes, we do offer them at the clinic, and yes, the vaccination bus does. Not the testing, but the vaccination bus offers them. Remember, that's every other week so far. We're hoping that it'll continue to be funded. But I was encouraged, what was it, last Friday or so, they said it looks like they're going to extend the vaccination bus services even to the frontier counties as they have been here for the last couple of months, which to me has been a godsend.
Okay, her other question that you didn't answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Well, the other part of her question was, is there been an influx of influenza being discovered, happening, or has it been choked out by COVID?
You know, I'm going to compare it to a year ago and then compare that to a year before then, even though I wasn't here, but Beth Green, shared these things with me. She said we had significantly less number of influenza cases even though we gave out like 600 vaccinations last fall. And we've given out quite a few this year, but not nearly as many people again as in 2019. And 2018 was a big one.
And people across the United States are still dying from the normal
Yes.
flu, we call it,
Yes,
whatever you want to
yes,
call
we
it.
do. But yes, we are consistently giving those, and to anybody who wants them. Yes, sir.
I think her other question was, is there a charge for those flu vaccines?
Not unless she wants to send me to Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so just for clarification, did you say we're seeing significantly fewer flu cases and vaccinations, or that vaccinations are up and cases are down?
No, we've held pretty well on our vaccinations. I mean, it's not the same level as it was last year, but we're still doing pretty well. And we are seeing fewer flu cases, and that's right across the country, not just here.
Got it. Okay, and the flu vaccinations are free at both the COVID Vax bus and at the public health offices?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
anybody else online? Anybody on the phone besides Elliot? What happened to your technology, Elliot? I can't believe you're just on the phone today.
She's on board.
It's unstable, Bill.
Really? We need
Yes,
Yes.
my connection is unstable. So make of that what you will.
We all have the same problem, Bonnie, you're right. Got somebody?
All right.
Okay, yeah, we got 10 minutes. Okay. I don't have anything else. Is anybody else dying to extend this meeting any longer? If not, we'll adjourn right now at 17 after. And we'll re-adjourn to interview the vice or